Hello, welcome to a slightly different video. We'll be talking about this whole Thundercats Roar debacle. A lot of people have been giving a lot of opinions on this show over the weekend, and I've seen some crazy ones that I'm just going to be going over as well in this video. Hope you guys are excited, because I am. I'm just giving you a little fair warning here. I never really enjoyed the 80s Thundercats. I caught reruns when it was on TV because I was born in 1990, so obviously I cannot catch the 80s Thundercats when it was, fresh, but I caught the reruns when it was on syndication. But I never really cared for the show. I didn't connect with the art style, did not really like the 80s style at all, or that version of Thundercats. Now, I've seen images of the 2011 reboot of Thundercats because of this, and I probably would have given that show a shot because I like that style. I like the character designs from what I've seen. It looked like a very interesting show. However, Cartoon Network did a bad job of advertising it, and in a way, Cartoon Network kind of set that show up to fail. It's unfortunate, but that shit does kind of happen in the TV industry, and it shouldn't happen, but it does because networks care a lot about toy sales, ratings, and all this other stuff that kind of goes into a network's decision. And if a show doesn't succeed in toy sales or ratings, they'll kind of shuffle the time slot a little bit, and then just cancel the show because shuffling the time slot will just cause the show to kind of dip in ratings. So the network kind of set Thundercats 2011 to fail, unfortunately. But they greenlit Thundercats Roar, and I do understand why a lot of people dislike Thundercats Roar, and I'm one of those people because I think that the one opinion that I agree with is that we're kind of burnt out on comedy, goofy shows. We've had a lot of them over the years. Because you got to keep in mind these networks do operate under trends. Like look at that period of Nick and Cartoon Network when they tried to push live action shows, and everyone hated them, but Cartoon Network and Nick still kept pushing them because those were kind of successful for those networks. But then they started going back to cartoons with Adventure Time, Steven Universe, The Magical World of Gumball, The Loud House, all these other shows on these networks started to, reinvigorate animation. And around that time, a lot of goofy shows started to get more successful. So naturally, Cartoon Network wants more comedy shows. Now, the thing is, that Thundercats Roar suffers the same issue that Teen Titans Go suffers, is that you're taking a property that is, supposed to be serious and it's supposed to be kind of like, interesting and gripping and suspenseful, and you're kind of forcing it to be in a genre that the show doesn't really belong. It's not recognizable. And I think that's what the issue of Thundercats Roar is, and I think we're also getting burnt out on the comedy styles as well, because it's one thing to have animation styles that are very stylized and stylistic. Like look at the Netflix series I just started watching. I might butcher the name. It's called like Agresuko. It's a show that has a little fox in it, and that's a very stylized cartoon, but the style has a lot of energy and passion put into it, and the show on top of that is designed around it. Like, even look at Steven Universe. That show is built around the style that it's in. That's why people like the show. The backgrounds are nice to look at. The animation style can stand on its own. It fits the tone. Thundercats Roar just doesn't fit the property's tone that much. It just doesn't feel recognizable, and the animation style is kind of bland because it's a style that we've seen already. We've seen this style in like, classic like Adventure Time, Flapjack, those kind of shows. We've seen this kind of grungy notebook doodle type of animation, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that animation style, but it just doesn't work with a property that had previous iterations that look a lot better. It just doesn't really work. It kind of looks like a bastardized version of it. And that's what a lot of people don't like, and I understand that, and I agree with that. I think Thundercats Roar just doesn't really work as a cartoon. So, that said, we have a lot of lovely tweets coming in. One by Nico Colelio that has been kind of making its rounds on the Twitters, and it should be known, it should be stated that this guy does not work on the show. He doesn't work on Thundercats Roar. It should be made clear he does not work on that show. But we'll get into that as well later on in this video. So he starts this whole thing with quoting a summary. "This looks terrible. Cartoon Network, don't do it. Oh, okay. Yeah, stop this project that's already been in production for months and put 60 plus talented people out of work, all because you don't like the promotional image." So this tweet here, we're gonna go through some of the parts that kind of stand out to me. First part, oh, okay, yeah, stop this project that's already been in production for months. So we should be lenient and not be upset with a show because it's been in production for years. That doesn't make any sense. Because no one knew Thundercats Roar existed. I mean, unless you did some like intense research on it, maybe, but no one knew of it until it was announced. So of course the reception of cancel the cartoon is now and not when it was pitched. Maybe if we saw the pitch, we still would have said we don't like the idea of making Thundercats a comedy show. That's just an idea. That's just a thing. And then saying, yeah, put 60 plus talented people out of work. I don't think that we're necessarily saying that these people who are working on the show should lose their job for it. I think that that they should put their efforts in a creative show or their own show and not try to force another show to be something that it's not. I also don't agree that people are kind of if I'm not sure if people are really doing this, but if people are giving death threats or going a little bit overboard with the insults on the people working on the show, I think that's a little much. You don't have to like the show, but I mean, I don't think wishing harm on people over a show like this is worth it. But I don't think that people want them out of work. I just think that people would have rather had them work on another show. And if these people are talented, for instance, they could probably get another job. They could probably pitch a more original show and get that to work out than kind of take an existing IP and try to make it their own. It's just the argument of well, if we cancel the show, these talented people are gonna lose the job, and it's like, yeah, they might not get a job on that show, but they could get a job in another show. It's like if they're talented, their talent's gonna show in their work, and they're gonna be able to get another job. Uh, and then saying all because you didn't like the promotional image. We saw the animation of it, and the thing is with promotional images and trailers is that they're supposed to sell you the idea of the show or the movie. It's supposed to sell you that idea, and if you don't like the trailer, if you don't like the thing, it might blow your expectations, but it might not be as good. And you know, if the trailer doesn't sell it to you, you're not gonna give it a chance. If you're indifferent, you might check it out, but if you're just like, this looks like shit, I'm not gonna watch it, I don't like it, then why would you want to waste your time on something you're not gonna like? And people voicing their criticisms of it is also fair too. They can voice their opinions that they don't like it. But okay, let's continue. This guy, who boy. For the record, I was a kid when the original Thundercats was on, and I hated it. This is something you reboot and make better, which I think the new crew will do just fine. Okay, a few things about this. A lot of people have been kind of nitpicking this tweet right here because he was born in 1980 something, like the late 80s. And they're like, well, he would have been a toddler when it was airing, but he could have caught the syndication of Thundercats because syndications of shows can last for a long fucking time. Again, I was born in 1990, and I do remember watching the 80s Thundercats. I did not see it when it was fresh new and shit, but I do remember the syndication and reruns of it. So I do kind of think that he could have watched that show and have that same opinion. But the thing that I am very very in disagreement with this tweet in particular is that just because I don't like it, I'm happy that they're changing it for something that I like. That's a very selfish attitude. And the thing is that, I might not have been a huge Thundercats fan, but even I understood why people did not like the new Thundercats. I understood that immediately. The second I saw the promotional image and started seeing people's opinions on it, I started to understand, oh, this is why people don't like the show, is because they liked the 2011 reboot of it. They loved the stories in that. They love the adventure of it. They love the animation of it. And then they see this, and it's like a huge step backwards in comparison. And I do get that. I do get that, because I've been there too. I love Teen Titans. And then I see Teen Titans Go, and I was like, oh, fuck this. So I can't... So it would be hypocritical of me to feel annoyed and betrayed by Teen Titans Go, then try to defend Thundercats Roar. I'd be hypocritical in that regard. So I do understand why people dislike Thundercats Roar, and I'm not going to make the case, well, since I did not like Thundercats, I'm just glad they're changing it to please me. If you and I'll also say this: if you like Thundercats Roar, if you're gonna give it a chance, fine. That's fine. You can love the show all you want. But I think it's a little shitty to kind of shit on other people who don't like it because the show's for you. You could say, oh, look, I understand where you're coming from. I just am a little bit more interested in this because I like this kind of genre of cartoons. So I'm more interested in seeing Thundercats Roar because it's more my style. That's fine. That's fair. But I think saying, well, the original Thundercats was garbage. I didn't like it. And now they're changing to make it look better, so I'm happy with it. It's like, it's kind of a shitty way of saying, I didn't like the Thundercats, I like Thundercats Roar because I like the style. You could have just said that, and that probably would have gotten you less flack, buddy, but be antagonistic. I'm sure it's going to work wonders for you, Nico. He goes on to say, I can't believe I have to explain this. Someone read these tweets and for no reason took it as I'm the reboot's showrunner, and the internet believes them, instead of just checking my profile, which clearly states my occupation and what I work on. I do not work on the show. Exactly. Here's why people thought that he worked on the show. I'm gonna give you a little surprise here, guys. It's gonna blow your mind. The way he reacted to the criticism of Thundercats Roar is so ridiculous that people just assumed he had to have worked on the show because he got so defensive. Like, I like a show, like, I like Korra. I like Legend of Korra. I thought that was a great show, and a lot of people either is okay with it or they dislike it. But I'm not gonna say, well, I like Legend of Korra, and if you don't like it, well, you're an idiot, and oh yeah, you don't like the show because it has this and this and this. Like, I don't go into that much of a defensive attack over it. I might go into a little rant about why I like it, but I try not to make it in a way that's shitting on people who dislike it. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, well, Legend of Korra is so good and it's amazing. So people just assumed he worked on it because he just got so defensive about the show. And the only people that could get this defensive are people who work on it, because if you work on something and you like the thing you work on and someone says that the thing you're working on is shit, you might get defensive about the project you're working on because you're working on it. But let's continue. Everyone writing me death threats, I need citation on this, TBH. Name calling and toddler level tantrums just look extra stupid because you're not even directing your hatred towards someone who has anything to do with the reboot. This is a weird response to make, in my opinion, because the thing that's weird about it is that he's kind of making it sound as if he would have been okay with people sending death threats to the actual people working on the show, which is kind of shitty to make that to allude to that. Like, oh, everyone's making death threats to me when they should be really making to the showrunners. Hint, hint. It's kind of a shitty thing to say, to be honest. But this is a very unprofessional fucking rant right here. But okay, buddy. And then saying that, oh, name calling me in toddler level tantrums, coming from a guy who summarizes the criticism as this very shitty way of conveying an actual argument is kind of contradicting and kind of dumb. Like, really? Okay. And then it says, in conclusion, cartoons are still pretty cool. But Twitter, go to your room. You're in time out. Ooh, man. This guy is so funny. Ooh. Oh, man, I'm laughing, man. All your mentions and Twitter is so funny. Looking at this site, the entire weekend just been like, oh, man. Ooh, boy. Ooh, man. He goes on a rant about the show, and he's laughing at other people ranting. Great, but don't worry, don't worry. We're not done with this guy. Nico still says some dumb shit. Don't worry, don't worry. Let's see. Okay, here. Fine, you've all forced out of me. Oh man, you ready for a funny joke? On behalf of the animation industry, it's time for me to tell you the honest truth. We want and love to ruin your childhoods. Oh man, Nico. That's funny. You know what's even funnier is if you watch the show on Netflix called Voltron Legendary Defender, that show actually did a pretty decent job rebooting Voltron, and they actually did a good job trying to make that show, accessible to everyone, and they still kept the overall tone of Voltron in a way, and everyone liked it. I mean, it has issues. It has a lot of flaws in it, but but you could definitely tell in Voltron has a lot of effort and passion put behind it. Like you can definitely tell that the people who are working on it are like, ah, yeah, let's just do Voltron. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna do this and this and this, and it's gonna be fun seeing this. And it's definitely done by a staff that kind of enjoys working on it. Um, Thundercats Roar just doesn't have that passion, and a lot of people are kind of unhappy about it. But don't worry, don't worry. It gets better. Eating your childhoods is how we animation industry people survive, and they go so well with a nice glass of red wine. What I'm just amazed with is these people who work in the animation industry has such this annoying kind of like they're doing this because they think it's funny, like, oh, if we act snarky on the internet we're gonna be hip and cool, dude. And I used to have that attitude for a while, when I started doing Twitter in the very beginning. If you dig in my tweets, far back enough, you'll definitely see a snarky asshole in my tweets. And I stopped that very quickly because people started to have problems with me. I was like, holy shit, I'm pretty much starting fights for no fucking reason. And it's the same shit that DSP does. This trend of snarky Twitter responses has got to stop. I'm tired of it. And it only got popular even more with Wendy's. Because remember Wendy's? Oh man, we're gonna start making snappy comebacks to the competition. And that was funny for a while. But have you noticed that no one talks about Wendy's anymore in that regard? No one brings up those tweets anymore because that joke is played out. And seeing people still talk like this, it's just like, are you fucking 12? Or maybe you're a grandpa. I mean, it blows my mind when I go on Twitter and I see people talk like this. It's like, what are we doing? Like, move on. Move the fuck on. Like, you might as well just do a dab, you might as well say YOLO, you might as well do that nonsense garbage while you're at it, because this behavior on Twitter does nothing but make you look bad. It does nothing but make you look bad. And this guy acts surprised when people start throwing shit at this guy. And look at the profile pic. It's just everything about this is just annoying and obnoxious. And that's what a lot of people hate about Nico at this point. No one knew the fuck about who he was until he started sounding like a 12-year-old. Like throwing tantrums on Twitter about people shitting on Thundercats Roar. Like, come on. And then he's like, oh, we ruined your talent, and it goes so well with our red wine, dude. It's like, are you fucking 12? Come on. And it gets even sadder. Don't worry. Don't worry. Nico goes all the way with being an idiot. Oh my god, I logged onto Twitter almost a full day later and droves of angry cartoon nerds actually thought my "we intentionally ruined childhood's" tweet was serious. Wow, come on people. Oh man. Angry cartoon nerds, man. Aren't they the worst? It's not like you work in the animation industry, and then there's people who like watching animation and get angry when they see animation that you don't like. Okay, because you don't sound like an angry cartoon nerd yourself, Nico. No, you don't. I was being sassy, sassy, oh man, towards all the goofs online who are mad about the Thundercats reboot, meant for children, and holy crap, did it piss them off. Take a break and go outside, friends. And this is the most ironic fucking tweet I've read in this guy's timeline, because for years and years and years and years, people have been trying to break the stereotype that cartoons are just for kids. It's for everyone. Yeah, the main demographic for some cartoons are for kids, but they're also accessible and anyone can like them. That is the point of animation. That's why a lot of people go into animation, because they love it. And this guy kind of just sets it back by saying, "You're getting angry at kids' cartoons, dude." It's so fucking shitty for a guy who works in the animation industry to kind of have this mentality that brings the industry back, because it's just ridiculous. Years and years, a lot of animators had to have to fight the stigma that cartoons are for kids. A lot of adult animation has to fight that, because when you go to the Oscars, you want to know why Pixar always wins besides Disney and ABC running the Oscars. It's because the Oscar committee doesn't give a fuck about the other animated movies. They don't watch them because they think they're for kids. There's a lot of stigma against it. So a lot of these people miss out on actually good animations like Anomalisa, which is a very good animated film. Check that movie out; it's really good. But it's all because animation has this stigma that has to fight against this notion that cartoons are for kids. Sure, yeah, there are cartoons for kids, but there are also cartoons that can be accessible and enjoyed by people who are in all age ranges. And it's just kind of insulting to read a guy who works in the animation industry propagate that notion. Like even like the staff of Legend of Korra understood that. Like, okay, yeah, the show is on Nickelodeon, and sure we might have a demographic that's kids, but we know that there are people who also grew up with Last Airbender that also enjoy these shows and this and that. They knew their audience. Of course, people may not like that show either, but again. When you see a show and you know that there's effort and passion put behind it, it shows in the animation and it shows in the material. But being told cartoons are just for kids is fucking garbage, and it's also kind of, because it also brings back the whole stigma with My Little Pony, when grown men and men liked My Little Pony. They liked the show because one of the animators that worked on Powerpuff Girls, Father's Home for Imaginary Friends started working on the current generation of My Little Pony, and people gave that show a chance because they like that person's work and like, well, maybe this is gonna be good, and that's why a lot of people like that show for a while. Um, so a lot of people have to fight the stigma that cartoons are for these niche audiences and just for them. So it's kind of dumb to make that argument. So good job, Nico. You're really propagating the notion that cartoons are for kids. A thing that a lot of people are trying to fight against. But good job, buddy. And then is this something even good? No, it's just talking about karaoke. Who cares? Okay, so here we go. I responded to this person, by the way, and I think I got muted by Nico because he's a little baby. He was afraid of my opinions, dude. The original Thundercats was great in the 80s. When I watched it from my childhood with my niece and nephew, they hate it because the animation is dated and they don't get the references. I'm so excited for the fresh take that will allow me to share something I like in a way. Now the notion of this tweet is fine. It's fine. You know what? Yeah, the 80s animation would naturally get dated because it's from the 80s. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. There was a 2011 reboot that had really good animation, good style, good stories, and all that. Why not show them that? Why show them the 80s cartoon? You have a more modern, well, relatively modern at this point, Thundercats animation that still holds up. Why not show them that? Uh, okay. And the idea that the newer generation is gonna like Thundercats Roar, sure, I'm sure that there's gonna be people who are gonna love Thundercats Roar. There definitely will be. There's people who like Teen Titans Go. There's kids that like that, and that's fine. I don't like Teen Titans Go. I hate that show, but I can definitely understand that there might be kids who like the show, but uh, that's not a reason to belittle or ignore fans of the show's criticisms of it. Like I would have much rather had normal Teen Titans continue, and get a new season than Teen Titans Go. Yeah, okay, people might like Teen Titans Go. Okay, that doesn't matter to me because that's not my opinion. Their opinion does not affect mine. So using that argument to kind of defend and diminish opinions of people who actually like the show is kind of irrelevant to the argument or the discussion. Like, yeah, okay, people might like the new Thundercats Roar, okay, but I don't like it. You know, it's just like okay, if he she could have his opinion all she wants, but she could have also tried to show her kids the 2011 Thundercats and see if they like that. But okay, uh, and the other thing that should also be noted, I should also bring this up. A lot of networks kind of lead kids during focus testing into answers that the network wants. Like because Green Lantern, the animated series, a lot of kids were asking because they showed one episode of the show or one season. I don't remember how they do I don't know for sure how they do the focus testing. I don't know if they show one episode or the season, but I think they show one episode. And all the kids were like, "Oh, what happens next? Oh, I don't understand. What's gonna happen next? What this and that." And the network thought that they took that as, "Oh, they didn't understand it, so the show is terrible because it's not uh, easy to understand for them." But when in reality, it just heightens their curiosity of the show that might tune them in to see more. But the network doesn't want that. The network would rather have a show that the kids are like, yeah, and that are more like black and white than just something that's like, potential, that shows potential instead. It happened with Korra as well when they showed that the main character was a woman of color. The network kept asking these kids like, did, did, do you not mind that the main character is a girl? And like, no, I don't care. Like that. Like a lot of networks do this kind of shady stuff because animation, in a way, is expensive, and the network doesn't want to throw money out on a show that's not going to perform well, and that's fine. But networks do need to take some risks. They can't just definitely rely on these black and white focus testing schemes or these arcade kind of models, but it is what it is. And then Nico makes more jokes about showrunners to be, and then we get this. Let's read this thing. Yesterday, I saw so much hatred towards the Thundercats reboot and its crew, a bunch of amazing, talented pals of mine, that I just had to express my support for them. I made a tweet poking fun at all the "you're ruining my childhood" response, but this super PO'd whiny nerds on Twitter with minus 30 followers. I'm dying each word I'm reading. The second I got to minus 30 followers part, it's just I'm afraid to read on. I'm afraid to see what else this dumbass tweet is gonna say. But let's go through. I have Cleo with me. Cleo is gonna give me strength, and I've gotten a mountain of rude comments since about my personal appearance, my avatar drawn as a gift by Redis Rose. The fuck. Oh, jeez, he's complaining about the fucking people making fun of stupid fucking avatar. My show too loud. A lot also seem to think I'm the Thundercats showrunner. For some reason, we're still on this. We're still on that. People think that. Okay, Nico, and that I'm working on this reboot. Oh my god. Specifically, Jesus, to annoy fans of the '80s series. What? And that I'm working on the reboot specifically to annoy the fans of the '80s series. Are you guys serious? Yeah, yeah, I'm sure people think you're okay. But I'm not the showrunner. That's Victor C, who's a great guy and also a good buddy of mine. Anyway, okay. So we should go after Victor C then? What a good friend. What a good friend. He gets all this hate, um, you know, unintentionally or misdirected hate, and he wants to direct it to Victor C. What a great friend. God. It's funnier thinking that it's funnier that he sees the negativity. He's trying to direct it to the appropriate parties. That is just perfect. Okay. Anyway, I don't care and won't read all the nasty stuff these haters are saying. Okay. I is this like DSP's long lost brother? Like, I'm not gonna read what the haters say, but it's like what? Okay. If that's what I have to deal with for supporting a talented crew making a fun new cartoon series, I'll happily take it. Oh my god. Okay, if you're gonna defend Thundercats War, if you're gonna like whatever, fine, you can do that. But you don't need to act as if you're some kind of martyr or a suffering individual. Everyone on this planet suffers, some more than others, and you're literally acting as if defending Thundercats Roar is on par with that? Really? You know what? I'm Nico has really, really, really got me to say this, and I would never have thought I would have to say this to someone else other than DSP, but I think I found someone more petty and sensitive than DSP. The fact that this guy's acting so like, if I'm being attacked for liking a show, I'll take the hits. I mean, like, at least DSP is like, saying how the haters are affecting his business and his income, and that's a little bit more accurate than this. Says a lot. It says a lot. Uh, and again, my rabbit, she suffers a lot too. I mean, she's a tough bun. She had a hard life. She has the hardest life than anyone on this planet. And Nico here is like, "Oh, I like Thundercats War, and everyone's attacking me." Oh, okay, Nico. You know, whew. And that's what he looks like in IRL, by the way. Great guy, right? When I saw this, I thought this was a Rick and Morty thing, and I was like, oh, of course he likes Rick and Morty, but it wasn't. Let's see. I think we read all this. Yeah, we read this, and yeah, we're caught up on Nico, this lovely individual. Okay. And then we go to this. This is a mini rant for this person, but uh, so this person retweeted this as, "Wow, this looks like fun. I never liked Thundercats, but maybe now I will." So again, if that's her opinion, that's fine. That's fine if she likes the new style. This I have nothing wrong with this tweet. It's fine. It's fine. She can have that opinion all she wants. Fair enough. And then she goes on to say, "Oh wow, people are upset by this? Why do people hate fun? Serious stuff is boring. I'll take cartoony cartoon over a serious one any day." Okay. Okay, Jessica. I give her credit for the first tweet. You know what? I was like, that tweet is fine. And then she says this that makes me want to kind of address a few things. So, why do people hate fun? Okay. The reason why people don't like Thundercats Roar at this point might be redundant, but they liked the 2011 show of Thundercats a lot. They were expecting, if anything, for a new show to be more in line with that because Thundercats is a action adventure type genre, and people wanted more of that. They didn't want another comedy, goofy, cartoony cartoon, especially on a network that has tons of them. Excuse me. Like look at the shows networks oh my god, I can't talk. Cartoon Network is running currently. They have all these similar genre cartoons. Now a lot of people bring up, oh, it's the same art style and this and that, and that's not necessarily true. I think a lot of them have similarities. I think I agree with that, but Steven Universe, one of the images I've seen, and they used an old image of Steven. It's like, oh, see, it looks like the other cartoons, but when you actually look at the other episodes of Steven Universe, it does look slightly different. There is variety in animation styles, but I think that the issue with Cartoon Network is that they're pushing so much goofy comedy cartoons is that they do tend to blend together unintentionally. Uh, it's like if it's like, yeah, the style might be different in a lot of ways, but since the tone and the fluidity and that kind of stuff is similar, it starts to blend together. And that's why people don't like Thundercats War, is just that it's another cartoon that is just the same shit that we're tired of. You know, it's the same thing with Rick and Morty. I mean, Rick and Morty kind of has a sadder story in my opinion because the fans kind of killed that show. But even that animation style is also getting kind of burnt out on as well. I kind of stopped watching after the second season because I just did not care about the show anymore. The animation style was okay, but it's not like, man, I want to watch this show more. It's just kind of bland, and I think that's what a lot of people have an issue with Thundercats Roar is that the style is just the same shit, and they are probably looking to have more diverse variety in animation. And that's not to say that there is no variety in animation. I don't think animation is dead or is dying, but I just think that having more of the same is kind of risky as well as a slippery slope. But we have other shows like Agretsuko, Devilman Crybaby, oh my god, I was saying this earlier. Why am I blanking on this? Well, there's Voltron. I think there's one more. Oh, Violet Evergarden. I kind of watched that. I like the animation in that. That has good animation. You have all these other animated series that are diverse enough, But I just think that Cartoon Network's kind of sticking to one genre, and that's just kind of gonna be wearing out people's uh tolerance of it. And I do think eventually Cartoon Network's gonna find another genre to latch onto, because also remember that these networks operate on trends. You know, we had the live action trend, we had the anime trend. Now a lot of people kind of uh uh shit on people saying that, like, oh well, those are good animated shows, and it's not anime and this and that. But back when Last Airbender was uh fresh and all that kind of stuff, a lot of people had the debate of, is Last Airbender an anime? A lot of people had that debate. You can't pretend it didn't happen, and you can't pretend that other shows didn't try to replicate that success. And to me personally, I don't really consider Last Airbender to be an anime. I just consider it to be an animation. Because animation can be anything. It's a style influenced or inspired by Japanese anime and this and that. Like, anime is a very fluid style and variety and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of shows probably like that style, and they probably try to propagate that as well. Um, but again, it's a trend, so eventually Cartoon Network's gonna move on from this comedy trend to do something else. Who knows how long it's gonna last? That might last another 5 years. It could be 2 years. It could be in a year. Who knows? But they operate in that kind of trend because it's a business, dude. Is there anything else here? I like Twitter for uploading art more than Instagram because at least here you can keep your followers interested with shitty memes while you take 6 months off to finish your next drawing without them disowning you. Okay, well, Instagram you can post anything. You don't really need to post art in particular, but okay. Okay, so here we have God bless all the hardworking cartoonists and animators busting their wrists to bring us fun, wonderful cartoon shows. Don't listen to the whiners who think it all looks the same. Uh, that is somewhat a good point. I do think that there are a lot of hardworking animators out there. I don't think that uh, that the animators working in the industry right now are lazy or anything like that. But I just don't think that we should just kind of give a pass to Thundercats Roar because people worked hard on it. I could work hard on something, and then people could tell me that the thing I worked hard on looks like shit. Like, in this video, I have I did it. I did that drawing above Cleo. I drew that. And I'm sure someone's gonna say that looks like shit, and it took me a long ass time to do it. Now, I worked hard on it. Does that mean that you guys should suck my dick and be like, oh, Theo, it's amazing. It's like the fucking Mona Lisa. Like, yeah, you work hard on something, and you're also, open to be criticized as well. You're not gonna please everyone. And again, it goes back to what I say with DSP and other people who upload videos or work on something. Don't get married to what you work on. You can love what you work on, you can enjoy it, but you don't be like, I made this, okay? Don't shit on it, because then you look fucking petty. But and also when you see negative criticism, read it. Read some of it. You're gonna know which is constructive and tangible from the nonsense. There is definitely a lot of good criticisms about Thundercats Roar in the Massive Hate. You just have to read them. Some of them are a little ridiculous in their criticisms. Like, a lot of them go a little bit overboard with it, but there are good criticisms about Thundercats Roar, and I just think that dismissing criticisms on the basis of people worked hard on something is just kind of a weak way and turning away from actual improving of the craft. And you can't just call them whiners either, because these are fans of the show. You know, I love Teen Titans, and of course I'm gonna shut on Teen Titans Go because it's not what I wanted. I love the show. I was passionate about Teen Titans. I loved each episode that they had. I mean, there might have been some episodes in Teen Titans I didn't like, but I liked the show. Of course, I'm gonna be critical of Teen Titans Go because the animation is a huge downgrade from the original, and it's not what I want. I'm not gonna necessarily sit there and say the creator should, be killed or have anything negative to them, but I'm not gonna sit there and be fake about it. So this idea of oh, don't listen to the whiners, you work really hard on things. It's just kind of, whatever. I mean, yeah, you could use positive reinforcement sometimes, but I mean, come on, come on. Then you talk about toxic masculinity. Ooh boy. All right. Let's just go through some of the Thundercats roar hashtags. I'm gonna skim through some of these. We're not gonna go through all of them, but it is what it is. I've been considering the spectrum of reactions. Thundercats roar is this: fear. It's human psychology, plain and simple. To shame, insults, essentially beat down the fans who won't accept the new series. Isn't the way to go about changing their minds, hearts, with their hearts, their fears. Exactly. Holy shit. This person gets it. If you're I've said this about Teen Titans Go as well. I've caught some episodes and I still don't like the show, but the one thing that I would have at least respected them would be to cut down the jokes about how bad the show is. Like, I feel like every episode of that show now is just them be like, we're not like Teen Titans, guys. Oh man, this is a goofy show. Isn't this a show that you hate? And it's just all these jokes that just reminds me why I dislike it. And it's like, if you work on something, at least, you know, own it. Own it. Own what you work on. You know? Yeah, someone may not like my artwork, but I made that. I drew that. I like it. I think it looks decent. I think it's better than where I was last year in my craft. Sure, it could be shit, but I own it. I own what I make. If it's shit, it's shit. I'm not gonna say like my art is terrible, guys. Aren't I a bad artist? Because that you have no backbone then. And then to go on and insult other viewers is just going to drive people more away from it. So, I have a feeling that Thundercats Roar will eventually suffer Teen Titans Go syndrome, where it will just start making nothing but self-referential humor that is just poking fun at the massive hate it gets, and that's garbage. Again, you should not have to shit on your own work to be funny. It looks pathetic. It looks pathetic and sad. And you don't want to look sad and pathetic in your fucking work. But let's continue. SpongeBob has been picked up by Cartoon Network. Okay. I saw this image floating around, thought it was a joke. Real, but oh, well, that's a big no for me. Okay. I don't have an opinion on the new Thundercats Roar because I'm a grown-ass man and no one cares what I think about a cartoon for children. Again, this fucking idea is so fucking annoying. Oh, it's for kids. But adults can watch cartoons too. Okay. That is quite the argument. If you're gonna defend Thundercats Roar, maybe you shouldn't bring up that cartoons are for kids then. As a person born in the early 80s who grew up on the original Thundercats cartoon, the new Thundercats Roar offends me to my soul. Okay. Thundercats Roar looks like hot garbage. I actually thought the 2011 remake was amazing, but Roar is complete trash. That is a decent opinion. I can definitely see where that's coming from. There we have this. We cannot wait to not watch this remake. Another intellectual property ruined. Geeks. So I see the okay. Are we just repeating the same tweets? Oh boy. But see, I kind of don't like the style either. It just looks kind of flat to me. I mean, it's I mean, I guess if you compare it to this, it's better. But I just and I don't like these designs. I like the 2011 designs a lot more. A lot more, but it is what it is. Okay, see, look at this. Look at this. See how good the artwork is? It's very detailed. And the thing is that when I was watching Violet Evergarden for a while, I was really confused in the sense that is it hand drawn? Like, is it like a 2D animation, or is it a 3D CGI rendered animation? And I think it's CG because the way that they move is kind of looks like kind of CG esque, you know. But the show does such a good job hiding it. It's incredible. It's incredible how well it hides it. I would give Violet Evergarden multiple chances. Honestly, I've been going through the first episode still, and I was like, you know what? I might not like the tone or the genre it's in, but the animation is just so good. So there you go. Even though I am an animator, I even though I am an animator that works in Japan, I really try not to make comparisons like this. But television animation in Japan 2018 versus television animation in America 2018. Jesus, tap dancing Christ. Ooh boy. A person who works in Japanese animation. Ooh, ooh. When even animators in Japan are insulting your shitty artwork, you know that you are hated worldwide now. That is rough. Ooh boy. Ouch. Ooh man, that is great. I can't love that enough. Ooh man. Okay. Let's see. Brave of the Ooh. I I will say the one thing that was good that came out of Thundercats 4 are the memes. I love the reboot memes. It's just so good. uh, what show is this supposed to be? I don't even know what show this is supposed to be. Oh, is that supposed to be? I don't know. Fuck it. I don't know. But the Evangelion one is the best one. I love that one. Oh man, I'm telling you, that's the only good thing that came out of it. It were those memes. Everything else, ooh, oh man. So I don't have a problem with Thundercats Roar. I have a problem with cynical people writing off opinions of those who do. I have a problem with those who do, belittling them with a cartoons were only commercials in the 80s, so get over it attitude. I watch cartoons to escape some very dark parts of my childhood. That's an interesting point. That's interesting. I will say that. Yeah, see, look, I like these designs a lot. They look very, very well detailed. I like this a lot more. See, I would have given this show a chance if I knew it existed. I like the mutton chops that guy has. It's kind of has that jet feel from Cowboy Bebop. I like the cheetah girl. I like her design in that too. It looks very, very good. And I like this too. Then you look at this and it's like, ooh, oh man, ugh, sound good. And then so we have, and this guy is an animator from Thundercats Roar, and man, I never understand. I will never understand that hairstyle. I'll never get it. I never will. Okay. Now this is some hot shit right here. I wonder if in 1940s people were screaming they ruined Mickey. It's not the same. My child is ruined. Okay. But look at the design from there to there. You notice the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is, guys. Is that this has more this has more detail and it's in color and people were probably more excited for it because they're like, oh man, we get to see Mickey in color and it's gonna be this and look how detailed it is and explosive and vibrant. I know Fantasia had a little issue at the box office when it came out, but you know, I don't think Mickey's design was what drove people away from the box office. I don't think that was it. But like look how well this is animated. You can't really compare the reaction to Thundercats Go to this. Thundercats Go, Thundercats Roar to this. It's completely different because one has more detail than the other, and then in Thundercats Roar, one has more detail and the new one doesn't. And again, the other thing is that Mickey is a very goofy and uh, comedic animation. So Mickey kind of has more versatility with changing animation styles because the styles that they change it to fit the genre. I know there was a 2013 Mickey cartoon that a lot of people hated, but at least the style worked. It might not have been a lovely style. People might not love the style, but it worked for the genre. It didn't look out of place. And in a way, it also looked more of an homage to the classic cartoons as well, because it had those kind of old-timey eyes and this and that. I mean, it looked like Cuphead in a lot of ways. Um, so the 2013 Mickey might not have been great or loved, but people did enjoy uh, what it offered. Like it looked and it had a lot of energy put into it, and it worked for the genre that it's in. You're taking Thundercats that has a serious kind of story, and it's an adventure story, and you're making it into a comedy cartoon style that just doesn't work with that property, and that's the issue. It's not that it's goofy comedy. It's just that you're taking a property that wasn't and forcing it to be something else. And then you got the sad part is how lazy Thundercats Roar looks, even for generic CalArt style. Okay, this is something I want to call out. I'm kinda tired of CalArt getting the blame for this because there are a lot of animators that come from CalArts that don't have this fucking style. By the way, uh, Skullgirls, Indivisible, uh, are two examples I go to all the time because one of the animators is from CalArts, and that those styles don't look at all like this. So saying CalArts style is kind of dumb, and a lot of animations that you've seen that you like, most of them could be CalArts graduates. So I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a CalArts style more than just a comedy style. I just disagree with the CalArts style uh, meme. But that's just me. I'm sure someone's gonna be like, "Oh, but Theo, you don't understand." But I don't think CalArts style is accurate. If you ask me. Yo, I dig this. I, for one, am very optimistic and appreciate the change in direction. Uh, Patiently waiting for Silverhawks and Tiger Sharks. But the thing is that I've said multiple times I do appreciate and respect shows that take huge risks visually and this and that, but this does not come off that way to me because it's a style we've seen before, or a style that's similar to another. It's not risky at all. It's the opposite. You're just taking a property and you're just changing it to fit in line with your other shows. And I just don't see that as a risk. You know, I would think it'd be more risky to make a live action series of Thundercats, and that might also fail too, because I also believe if it's animated, it should stay animated. But whatever. But I don't think this style is risky or anything like that, because it's the same style we've seen before. Just saying. Hmm, okay, which one am I gonna end this video on? There's been a lot of strong opinions towards the new Thundercats Roar cartoon, so I wanted to get my 6-year-olds since he's the target audience. I show him the intro, and my son says, I like the other ones because they look cooler. He's seen the original and the 2011 versions. Yeah, if you show a kid the 2011 version, they probably would like that too. Just saying. Oh man. Seeing a bunch of love and appreciation for Thundercats 11. Okay. Okay, so we'll end on this one. We'll end on this one. I am in the wake of the Thundercats Roar news. I am now seeing a bunch of love and appreciation for Thundercats 2011. My question to y'all is, where the hell was all that support for the show back in 2011? Y'all weren't sharing the same love for the show back in 2011 like y'all are now. Multiple things. One is the network. The network kind of reshuffled the time slots and just kind of did a lot of shady business dealings behind the scenes to kind of set that show up to fail. You can't really blame the viewers 100% on that one. Yeah, would it still be on the air if the ratings did well, if people watched it? Sure, of course. But if the network keeps changing the time slots to different times of the day, went from like 8:30 p.m. at night on Friday to 9:30 a.m. on Saturday, it's like, of course it's not going to get any attention, because no one's up at that time, or not enough people to wake up at that time to catch it, etc. It's just they set this show up to fail, and that's kind of why the show had bad ratings, because the network mismanaged that show badly. And it's not just Cartoon Network that does this. A lot of other networks do this. Fox did it with, I think it did it with Arrested Development. It did that with Futurama when it was on Fox. They kept shifting the time slot around, and people kind of gave up on trying to watch it. And then, and Legend of Korra did it. Now, Korra did not get canceled; it just ended. But it got such low ratings on TV and Nickelodeon kept changing the time slots on it, that it did so badly that it just decided to go back to uh uh they decided to move it to a online service instead of just putting it on TV. They kind of just stopped doing that altogether. The only network that they had it on TV was on the Nicktoons channel, and that was a channel you had to get a cable box. You had to buy extra cable for. So blaming the viewers on it is kind of misguided, because the network didn't do the show any favors either. So that is the best way to end this video, is to have a nice little rant about how networks mismanage their shows, because a lot of these networks do this either unintentionally. I don't know how you could do it unintentionally, or they do it because they want the show to fail so they can select other shows to be more successful. If the show's not doing well, they'll just keep fucking with it until it gets canceled, until they have a reason to cancel it. So that is kind of what happens in the network industry, in the animation industry. It's fucked up and it's shitty, but the animators do what they do. Uh, but it's kind of dumb to blame the viewers 100% when the network did nothing for the show. So okay. Well, that's it for this video. It was a fun one. I enjoyed it, and I hope you understood my point. I hope you understand my opinions on this. As I said, yeah, I know I'm not a huge Thundercats fan myself, but I do see why people dislike the show, and I think that a lot of people are who are trying to defend it are kind of doing it in the dumbest way imaginable. So, thank you for watching this video. See ya in the next one.